Hello, and welcome to Relatable Bitches podcast. I'm your host, Heinna.
And I'm your host, Marj. We're so excited to have you here with us today.
This is the space where we will dive into all the messy, beautiful, and totally relatable aspects of life. From family and friends to career struggles and everything in between. We're here to keep it real and have some fun.
That's right. Our goal is to create a community where we can laugh, cry, and feel understood. So grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's get into today's episode. Any personal stories or experiences shared on this podcast are unique to the individuals involved and should not be considered universal or applicable to all situations. Welcome back to another episode of the Relatable Bitches podcast. I'm your host, Marj.
And I'm Heinna. Well, hello. Today we are diving deep with a powerhouse who is here to shake up your mindset and kick the should-be's right to the curb. Joining us today is Philomena, a mindset and clarity coach who helps women in their 30s transform from stuck to absolutely unstoppable. So welcome to our space.
We are
Hello.
so happy to have you on today.
So, me too. I'm so happy to be here. So excited, and I love your guys' podcast. Like you, relatable is the word, you know. So I'll leave the B bit out, the bitches bit out because that's not true.
Love it. Oh gosh. Well, let's just jump right into it. Hannah's introduction is basically everything that we've love about you. It's definitely, one of the things that we do on this podcast. It's very much, having, mindset people, making sure that, we understand that, we're not alone. We all have, very
Mhm.
similar sort of journeys in a sense of, I should have been at a different place in my life in my 30s. I should have been doing this. I should have been here. I should have been there. So, this is a very sort of relatable topic for most of us, you know, living in our
Yep, yeah.
30s, even 40s out there. So, but I did want to get started by
Yeah,
asking you
correct.
what sparked your journey into the mindset coaching and specifically why with people in their 30s.
I had a complete mental breakdown. Well, not mental, but like a breakdown in my 30s. It was the day of my 30th birthday party. And I just felt like nothing in my life was going right. I was
Yeah.
single, I was overweight, I was in a job I hated, and I was just living back in my parents' house. And I was just like, where is my life going? I should be, I should have all these things that I've just listed. That was a problem, you know? And it was just like I had depression and I just was in a spiral of like my life, where's my life going and what's the point and all this kind of stuff, you know, and then kind of compare myself to others around me. And yeah, it just wasn't a
Mhm.
nice place to be. So, like, obviously, I mentioned there I had depression, then I went to therapy and um done a lot of work on myself, like self-care courses, like journaling and like a lot of stuff like that. And then I came across coaching, and I it sounded really interesting. People were changing their lives and through the power of coaching, and the ad just kept coming up. So I said I'd do the course, and then I obviously was coached while I was on there. And then I got my own coach and I was like, wow, okay. Instead of just focusing on what I don't have in the past, let's set some goals and kind of go after what it is that I actually want instead of kind of living in this place of like compare and despair. And yeah, so I think like coaching was very powerful for me, along with obviously all the other
Mhm.
tools. Like I wouldn't have got there unless I had gone through the other um areas, to kind of make myself feel that little bit better, brave enough, confident enough to actually go there because like I was a shell at one point. Um, so yeah, like people in their 30s, I want to because that was like a lot of like my early 30s was like that. I mean, I'm not going to be on my own feeling that way, and because I
Yep.
spent so long to
Mhm.
getting
I'm
where I
right there.
needed
I
to
was
get
right
to.
there with you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Age was never a number for me. It was literally the morning I was having a party because I'd never have had a party before. Like, and it was like, I literally woke up and was like, oh my God. And I really, it came out of nowhere. I did not know
Yeah.
where this even came from. So, yeah, why I work with women in their 30s is because I spent so long myself getting through that I'm like, right,
Yeah.
let's save you guys some time before you like get there, that kind of way, and have to do all the hard work.
Yeah.
Let's kind of we peel that back for you. Let's even give you a little start with the 12 weeks or whatever, and like get some
Yeah.
clarity, mindset, focus, all that kind of stuff that
Yeah.
I wasted years probably working through.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like a lot of us just need a little bit of a boost in a
Yeah.
sense. With saying that, I know you mentioned, you were feeling that, and I feel the same, and I know March has felt the same. You get to a point where you're like, oh, I should be this and that. Like, what are the most common should be's that you've heard, from the women that you're coaching that are in their 30s?
Mhm. Relationship is a big one. Even people that
Mm-hmm.
don't want to be in a relationship, they feel like they should have that partner,
Right.
because it's just what society has ingrailed. And I was like, I knew I'm in a relationship right now. But when I was single, I was happy when I was single. I was off, I was traveling, doing solo trips, and it didn't bother me. But the stereotype was always in my
Yeah.
head, that I should be in this relationship. And I
Yeah.
really, I kind of went against the grain. I was like, no, and I really instilled it in everybody, so relationship is a big one. Children are a
Mm-hmm.
big one, and
Mm.
like, regardless if you can or can't or want to or don't want to, that's a big one as well for people, and then that coincides with the whole relationship thing. And then it's a double-edged sword to kind of beat yourself up with. And career, as I mentioned to you guys just before we went on here, that's a big thing now, because a lot of the cases are like the career is what's stemming on the being stuck, because if someone wants to go traveling, they can't because they're stuck in their job, or they want to move and they can't because they're stuck in their job,
Yeah.
or I can't even move jobs because my relationship depends on my half of the bills, like career is actually huge when we actually get down to the
Mm.
nitty gritty of it. But those are just a couple of the things that come up, but it's all like comparing ourselves to other people and what society has put on us as women that we
Yeah.
should
Yeah.
be doing.
Yeah. Get
Yeah.
married,
Yeah. Yeah,
have
for sure.
babies, live your work until you retire, die.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What comes after that?
Pretty much.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Pretty much.
Go
Let's
into
bring the
heaven
mindset
hand by
back.
hand with your husband. You're both going to pass away on the same evening during what your sleep.
Yeah. No. Yeah. No. Love it. Love it. Yeah. Yeah.
Would you also say
In
that?
fairness to you, I will say, I know we're joking about this, but I used to say to myself, life is just a test. What's the point
Mm.
type thing. So, like, sometimes people are so engrossed in that, like, that there's no way out, that they actually do feel like they're just
Yeah.
waiting to, like they're just going through the
Yeah.
motions, not to kind of
Yeah.
put a
Yeah.
dampener on it, but
No.
it is true. Like, some people are actually in that position, unfortunately, that they don't have that hope. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's sad.
Would you say that?
Yeah.
So you were speaking on the fact that um, you seem to be coming across a lot of women that are struggling with their sort of careers in that sort of aspect, like they're working financial. Would you say that that is like the biggest struggle that you see across with your clients? Like, is that the most common struggle?
Um, I
See?
don't, not finances per se. I would I mean the whole, like, so afraid to make that move,
Yeah.
that they might, it could stem from, like, they may want a different career completely, or just the fact that they want to just change jobs, have less stress.
Yeah.
But
Mm.
because it's the fear that's around the change that's
Yeah.
leaving them stuck in the job. And it might not be financially, because they could potentially be going for a job that is more money, a
Yeah.
higher
Mm.
salary, bigger promotion, better benefits. But the fear is leaving them stuck. What if it doesn't work out? And then it's all on me because I can't afford to pay
Yeah.
towards the bills. Or what if it doesn't work out? And now, like, what will I do? I've been here so long. I know this kind of work. Oh, better the devil,
Yeah.
type thing.
Yeah.
It's that, like, freeze. Like, yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think it is, that's where it is, where we get into this mental block where it's just like you're stuck in the routine in your hands that you have or had or whatnot. So what do you think is more the biggest mental block you see people or women preventing them from taking action? Because I know a lot of us, it's more of that taking action syndrome. So what do you think has been the biggest block you've seen for your clients?
Mindset is a huge
Yeah.
thing. Like, and fear is a big thing. Um,
Yeah.
and like imposter syndrome as well. Like, not being, the root of it is not being good enough. That is the main block for majority of
Mm.
women. It's instilled in us since we're like being in childhood and stuff. One thing said to you, like it will
Yeah.
definitely have a complete knock-on effect in your subconscious. You don't even know sometimes it's happening. But like I have like one of the exercises is like why, or asking the same question in different ways, and it always comes back to, but I'm not good enough to do that, or I'm not good enough to get there, or to, it's always the not good enough part, and then it's like, where's that coming from? And then we have to go back and kind of look through like NLP techniques, go back to timeline and
Yeah.
see where that's actually coming from. But the root cause of the majority of women I work with is the not good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
What advice would you have for people when it comes to what self-care looks like? So I've recently had a discussion with somebody that she basically said that her self-care is locking herself in her bathroom on a Sunday night to do her, facial routine and things like that. And I
Okay.
actually called it a
Mhm.
routine. I mean, that's not really self-care, that's your routine. You need to take care of yourself
Mhm.
more. So how,
Yeah.
and that was just my perspective, my view on it. Like, you shouldn't have to lock yourself in your bathroom to get away from your husband and your child to have a little bit of me time.
Mm.
To me, that isn't really self-care.
Yeah.
That's you trying to escape and just trying to keep up with your routine, trying to, it is helpful. Don't get me wrong. I still think that, yeah, lock yourself in your bathroom, give yourself your little pampering beauty treatment. I'm 100% for it. I did mine before I came on the podcast tonight. Uh, but, what sort of, what self-care tips would you suggest to
Mm.
people to do outside of, take a bubble bath and your face masks?
Mm. Yeah. I do want to touch on that though, because I both agree and disagree with you in this. Because for someone that doesn't have that time for, if that's self care to them and they don't have the time to do it, like getting that time to give back to themselves is self care in a way. So for her, if that's what makes her feel good in herself, I'm totally down for that. Yes, I agree that she shouldn't have to do it, but if it's a case of any other day she doesn't have the time and that's like what she's given to herself in that self-care time, like go her.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But it's interesting
self-care
what you
can look
actually.
different in any way depending on,
No, it's interesting that you just
apologies, what was
mentioned
that?
time, because one thing that I think we all
Mm,
don't do is we say that we don't have enough of it, and we make ourselves
hmm,
believe that we don't have enough of it. And then when we actually look at it,
yeah,
or we have somebody on the outside look at it and then go, "But you're sitting there on the couch for 3 hours in the afternoon doing nothing but what, TV and scrolling, doom scrolling through Facebook." That could have
yes,
been your
everybody has 24
self-care
hours but you
time.
choose to do it.
Exactly. So I think that
Mm,
time is a very important thing that you just touched on when it comes to your self-care. It's making yourself understand that you have to take time and that you can make time.
100%. Yeah, totally agree. I do agree with you there. But I think self-care looks different depending on where you're at, what mood
Yeah.
you're in. Self-care ideally is like giving your body, for example, the best quality foods, making your like fresh fruit, veg, and like healthy meals and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. But some days self-care might be just ordering yourself a McDonald's because you feel like shit and that's going to make you feel better. So self-care to me is anything that's going to make you feel better. Um Okay, the McDonald's situation is probably like a temporary fix, but I mean, like having your morning routine, like let's talk about real self care. But I just wanted to touch on that because it can look different to
Yeah.
everybody at every different stage of where they're at or how they're feeling and
Completely
stuff
agree.
like that. But like gratitudes, affirmations, like filling your mind with like personal development
Mm.
tools and books and audios and motivational videos, like all the good stuff that's going to fuel your soul, like doing the social media detox or like unfollowing people that make you feel like or trigger you or make you feel like not enough for good, you know um journaling, as I
Mm.
said, like getting the thoughts out of your head and onto paper, talking, meeting up with people for a coffee, like filling your cup with whatever makes you happy. I mentioned the
Yeah.
self-care course I'd done previously, and there's a great little technique called a happy list. And it's where you write down everything that makes you happy. So when you're feeling that little bit low or down or whatever, and you want to give yourself self-care to make yourself feel a bit happy, you just go to the list, and like one of them on it is going to appeal to you at that specific day. It could be reading a book, or it could be going for a walk, like stuff that's going to make you feel that little bit better. um, yeah, I think that will probably be my definition of
I
self-care.
love
I
that.
could keep going, but I'm
I'm
conscious of
I'm
time.
going to be doing that. No,
Oh, no, no.
I'm going to start doing that. I'm
Yeah,
gonna create my own little happy list. It's actually a great idea.
yeah, yeah,
Keep
It's
it in my phone so it's always with
yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's so good,
And I
such a
think
good
sometimes,
idea.
yeah. Yeah, I think people get in bogged down to sometimes when they're like making and taking action, making an effort into, putting into themselves because again, each situation is different, right? And with that being
Mhm.
said, like, okay, like these are the self cares besides, the list and so forth. What steps can someone take? Like when they're totally feeling lost or disconnected, they're at the point where it's just like, I don't want to move, but they know they have to. What are things that you shared with your clients that's helped them kind of step out of that? Bubble of just like
Mm,
bleh.
Yeah, I'm thinking like I wanted to mention this actually. It's just come it's back to me. Um, the negative self-talk is what's keeping you there, because it's like there's
Mhm.
something that's like you can't do this, or
Yeah.
no, you're better off doing this. There's no point in doing this anyway. So it's the
yeah.
Yeah.
reframe of like you catch yourself hearing these thoughts in your head, and
Mm.
it's not easy sometimes. And granted, people are probably listening thinking, "Oh yeah, it's going right for her." It's not. It's not
Yeah.
okay for me. It's freaking hard as well for me. But
Yeah.
when you catch them, it's just like turning them. It's like it might be like, okay, you're stuck in bed and you cannot get out of the bed, and it's like, okay, I'll just get up. I'll just wash my face. And then, it's like little steps. Okay, I've done that now. Now I'll put a bit of face cream on. I'll brush my teeth. I'll make a cup of tea. And then it's like one step at a time. It's like how to eat
Yeah.
an elephant one bite at a time type thing. You break it right down. And it's like when things feel overwhelming, I think it's very difficult to kind of go and do everything. Whereas it's like if you come back and say, okay, instead of lying here, I'll get up, as I said, wash my face. That's
Mm.
one thing, but you'll feel better for doing it. But it doesn't feel like a whole big challenge because you're actually feeling absolutely shit lying in the bed. You know that kind of way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
For sure.
definitely. It's sometimes, yeah, the struggle is real. Sometimes it's really hard just being able to get out of bed and just have a shower. It
Yeah.
can
Yeah,
really, really,
totally.
bring you down, and you're it's amazing how our own like our own thoughts, how effective they are. We can put ourselves in such a horrible place with our thoughts, or we can put ourselves at such a good high place, like so happy, so energetic. And it's the same brain. It's one of the things that
Mhm.
absolutely fascinates me, that it's the same brain, and it's like it just depends on the positivity that you have around you, the way that you view things. Is your half cup, I never used to understand this when I was younger. It's like, is your cup half full or half empty? I didn't understand that
Mhm.
concept when I was younger until I started
Yeah.
realizing, well, it's like, are you a pessimist, like, or an optimist, or, you know, how do you view life? And, that's sort
Yeah.
of it's
Yeah.
something that it's like, Hannah and I have really sort of been working on. It's like changing our frame of mind, really being more accountable, really more aware of our own thoughts and making those
Yeah.
switches. I think it's very, very important, especially when you're us in our 30s, because it is
Mhm.
so easy. Like at the end of the
Yes.
day, anybody at any age can fall into depression, fall into a really bad place in their life at
Yep.
any point. But I do feel statistically, women in their 30s, they should have been so further ahead in their lives, where we believe that we should have been further ahead with certain things. I've
Yeah.
recently come to the realization where it's like,
Yeah.
I'm so far ahead of certain things. Why do I feel like I need to be even further ahead? I should be happy because there's other people around me
Mhm.
that would be jealous of me at how the fact that I'm only in my
Mhm.
30s and I've accomplished, so much.
Yeah.
So it was that change.
Totally. And you
Yeah, it was just that change that I had to flick that switch and go, no, like this is what people would love to be like. You know, why would I be upset that I'm not where I need to be? I'm exactly where I need to be.
And it's all relative. Who says you need to be anywhere? This is your
Yeah.
life. Like you live it to your, like if you're not happy, change it,
Mhm.
you know? Like I
Yeah.
heard a good quote, if you're not changing it, you're choosing it. And I love that. I actually
Yeah.
only heard that yesterday. And I really, really love that because it's like if you're not changing the situation, you're choosing to be in the situation, that kind of way.
Yeah.
So and no one has like nobody has the authority to tell you what to do, where to go. This is no one has to walk your shoes,
Correct.
no one has to pay your bills, no one has to do any of this stuff but you. So why are you giving them power over your decisions and your life and
Yes.
That's
like what you're
Amen.
gonna do?
right. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
definitely.
Those
Like
rhymes.
one of the things that has helped me through sort of my journey is journaling. Um and I just you had mentioned that before. So I don't enjoy journaling like writing my thoughts. I would prefer to, grab my
Mhm.
phone, I open my voice recorder and I voice my little journal entry, what I want to do and say, and, what my gratitude for the day and all that sort of stuff. So I found that there are different forms to journal. You don't have to just have one little book and every single morning or every evening, write down what you want to write down. There are other forms of journaling and be able to get, this sort of information, this stuff out of us, and you know get it into the
Hmm.
world.
Yeah.
What are other sort of tools that you would um, give to your clients when it came to journaling? And maybe they don't want to do like the voice recording or video cameraing or something like that. Like I know that there's different methods. What sort of methods do you recommend?
I love around the full moon or new moon or um end of year or like something new happening, or I love writing a letter.
Yeah.
I like writing a letter. I'll go through two options actually that I do. One of them is like around the full moon and stuff. I usually write it down, everything I want to release or everything that's like just been
Yeah.
going on in my head, and then I always set it on fire
Yeah.
and like let it go.
Yeah.
Like get out.
I love that.
um,
Yeah.
I do. I love it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't even have to be around that time. Sometimes I'll just do it. If I'm really freaking pissed off at something, I like
Mhm.
scribble down a load of stuff, and like obviously no one needs to see this because I'm giving out about someone or I'm telling about someone or someone's after upsetting me or something, and I'll just do it randomly and I'll just go outside and light it on fire and yeah,
Yeah.
bye. That's gone now.
Let it.
And it's like you can actually feel the exhale after you do it. Even as I'm speaking about it, I can feel it actually coming off my
Yeah.
chest. So that's one thing that I do. Another thing I
Mm.
actually really recommend to my clients, it's a free thing. It's a website. It's called dearfutureme.org, and you can write yourself a letter. I think it's 6 months a year, and there's another option. Apologies, I don't remember which one it is, but that letter you send it, and then they email it back to you within the time frame that you've suggested it to come back. So it's really
I
nice to receive
love
it
that.
back, and like
Ah,
you know,
me too.
good
What?
for
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
future planning stuff. Like
I need to
like
write that
I would
down.
write it in like the present tense of the following
Right.
year,
Dear
and
Yeah.
like
future me.
well done you on achieving X, Y, and Z over the last year. You're amazing. Like a really positive kind of journaling option, like of the letter stuff. That's what, and it's really nice to receive it back. And in one sense, it's like, oh my god, I forgot I set that goal and I actually didn't achieve it. Do I actually really want it anymore? And then it's kind of like, was it important enough for me,
Yeah.
or did I just forget about it? And then it's something that you can kind of either again let go or like go forward again this year with. So that's another one. And again,
That's
like the
awesome.
pen and paper, like I do have a journal here and I will, like, and I don't mean like I wouldn't spend hours journaling. I just kind of do a little bit, maybe 10 minutes and just get it out of my head. Or
Yeah.
again, like I journal a lot more when I'm annoyed or angry or I need to get something
Yeah.
off my
Yeah.
chest. So that's my kind
Yeah.
of journaling, or if I'm upset about something, just to gain the clarity to get it out there to see what it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would do that. Like even if I'm on the laptop or something and like something I'm after getting a phone call or someone's after, doing something, I'll just even I'll open Microsoft Word, type it, and then like I'll read it back and I'll be like, okay, you're overreacting, and just delete
Absolutely.
it, that kind of way. So it could be something as simple as that. It's just literally getting it out of your head, seeing what's actually going on in there. That's the point of journaling,
Yeah.
because our
Yeah.
subconscious is like, it's a beautiful but crazy thing, because there's so much embedded and there's so many files, and like it's
Yeah.
crazy to think that like little things are back there and something can just trigger you so quickly and you don't even know where it's coming from. Whereas if you just type free will, like,
Mm.
and don't even think about it, like just go, 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 or like write,
Yeah.
um, you'd be surprised what even comes out on the paper sometimes. That's what I meant about like, oh, overreacting, because I'm like, that
Yeah.
didn't even really happen that way,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, you
But
don't know until you know,
yeah. But that is
basically.
so
Yeah.
important
No, that's
though.
so true.
Somebody had told me ages ago, it's like you don't want to respond to people in anger. So get your notes
Yeah.
out, get a blank message, because this was before iPhones, unfortunately, really aging myself. Like, get your, just get a new message. Don't put a name in there. Just write the whole
Don't put
message
the name
out
in.
and then delete the message, and it doesn't get sent to anybody ever. You've still gotten it out of your system.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I was like, that's genius. That is genius, because I
I do that.
couldn't do
Yeah,
the
Yeah.
whole blind
I
rage of
have.
you asshole. No, no, no,
How
no, no, no,
dare
no,
you?
no, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Type whatever you
Correct.
want. And then you're like,
Correct.
I sound crazy.
Yeah.
I released
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
going to come out looking like I'm the one that's nuts. So let's just remove it, and
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
and let's
Correct.
pretend that we're normal.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Well,
mean, I have a
girls.
little bit. Yeah, no, I was just kidding. I have a little confession. Actually, I forgot that I did this in high school. I've always wanted to do the fire, like writing a letter and put it on fire. But I live with my grandparents, so they're probably like, "What are you doing?" What I used to have a shredder, so I would write because I love journaling. I would write everything, and then I'd put it through the shredder, and I'd be like, "This, that's that,"
Love that.
and like
Yeah.
because I couldn't put anything on fire. So that's what I think is all that, I guess, in a sense, coming leading to the next question, is that we have these toxic traits, but the fact that where you can kind of control it, because there's a difference between toxic positivity and genuine gratitude. So I truly feel like that's something that a lot of us kind of get mix and match when we start doing things. We're just like, I need to protect myself, so I'm just gonna go and be angry. But then maybe you can do that, like write it down and then put it through the shredder. It's probably a lot more easy. What do you think is the difference between those two? Because I'm sure a lot of people that come into your space, it's either they're disappointed, they're angry, or whatnot. What do you see between those two when they come to you, like, the most?
Fake it till you make it is like a big thing, I think. And that kind of goes into that toxic positivity, because people think they're doing everything right. But like if you're not doing it with good
Yeah,
intent, it's not there, like like, sorry, I get goosebumps now. To genuinely like feel the gratitude. And I think this comes with practice as well. So um I think people that start the toxic positivity or the gratitudes just for the sake of it, it makes them feel good. So at least they're trying,
mm,
So I hope through like experience of like them wanting to do it, that they're going to
yeah,
surround themselves with the right people, with the right messages and things like that, that
yeah,
it's actually going to be genuinely heartfelt. And yeah,
mm,
it is practice though, because we all want that. Like we all want to be happy and positive and like,
or
have all the good stuff around us, and actually based on that, it's like you're a version of the five people you spend the most time with. So like
yeah,
look at those people. Are they like that, like radiating gratitude and positivity and like your vibe and stuff? Because that will obviously affect it too. But again, going back to like the affirmations and gratitude and things like that, like we have to learn these things, and if you're not looking in the right places,
yeah,
they won't come. So I love Rhonda Byrne, like The Secret and stuff like that, and the magic and the power is amazing. I've come across Emma Mumford recently, like she's a queen. Like I really, really like her. She's got a book called Positively Wealthy that I kind of have gone through, but I'm going back through again, and it's a gratitude practice, and she looks at gratitude in all, or sorry, um looking wealthy and abundance in all areas of our life rather than just like the financial thing, and sometimes we forget like
mm,
where the gratitude needs to be. So like educating yourself with tools like that and people like that who actually walk to walk and talk to talk, like that's how you can kind of see the difference. And I think when you're speaking to somebody, if it's like fake or go
Yeah.
through with good intention, you know?
No, for sure. No, for sure. For sure.
Would you be
Yeah.
able to share with us and our listeners a personal gratitude practice that changed your life?
Yeah, it's honestly, it probably was the secret and the magic, to be honest. Um, the magic I found very difficult because there's a lot, like I think it's like 20 gratitudes that you write down every day, and that was a lot. So I kind of do between 3 and 5 every day. I will
Mm.
literally just say I'm so grateful for my house, because it keeps me warm and sheltered and it's full of love, something like that, you know. And I'm very grateful for my business because I'm very grateful for my family because of the support, and I'm very grateful for my partner because, like there has to be the reason, like, and then once you write them down, you read them out loud and you kind of like put your hand on your chest and you thank the universe or
Yeah.
Yeah.
whoever you, God or whoever you're connected to. And it's like, thank you, thank you, thank you after each one, and like feel the gratitude because if there's some, like, for example, the house is someone that's homeless that doesn't have that, you know? And like, I am very
Yeah.
grateful that I'm not sitting out there in that weather, like today, like,
Yeah.
like look around what we have,
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think that's the thing. And I love how you put it all together where you're more of obviously you only know what you know. It's a learning process. And so that's amazing. So with your coaching and so forth, what is kind of like your signature process that you use to really help women get unstuck when when they come to you and say, "Hey, I need help."
well, there's a 12-week program, and like action is part of it, like I will give
Yeah.
um homework to do, like,
Yeah.
and like there's that accountability and I'm there for that. But like we go from everything through lifestyle design to have a look at where you're at. We look at your wheel of life to see where the balance is, what's missing, what needs to change. And then we look at what you actually want, like the goal setting and things like that too, and how to actually
Mm.
get there, and basically it boils down to what it is you actually want. Like the amount of people when I ask that question, what do you want? They're like, I don't want this, I don't want that, I don't want. No, no, what do you want?
Yeah.
Not
You
what,
want.
It's
not
easy.
what you
Yeah.
don't want.
Yeah.
And it's a very
Yeah.
difficult answer, granted, I know, but yeah, so it's through all that kind of stuff, and we do like a lot of obviously NLP timeline techniques, and go through the
Okay. Yep.
subconscious limits and beliefs. We'll break down some of those, and like we'll do some anchoring it, whether it be confidence that you want to bring into your new kind of life per se, and like we'll follow the journey, and like we'll hit where you want to be.
I love that. I really love that.
If
Yeah.
if our listeners could implement just one thing from our conversation tonight, what would you recommend?
Gratitude and affirmation.
Yeah.
100%.
Mm.
Can I say
Quite
three
important.
actually? Journaling as well. Like they all kind of go hand in hand for me because it's my little morning routine,
Yeah.
and it probably takes 15 minutes max, to like 3 to 5 things that you're grateful for,
Yeah.
affirmations, looking in the mirror while you're brushing your hair or something, and then like 10 minutes journaling, if even 5 minutes, whatever you
Yeah.
have, like literally just
Yeah.
get something out of your head. And like that will change your day like completely. Like you will feel like a boss ass bitch, like I am powerful, I am strong. Let's
Yeah.
get this going. And then like you get like the shit out of your head before you go. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that. And obviously that's kind of the start and where they start learning and start to, creating it as a habit. And within that said, when they're feeling, they get to the point where they're feeling overwhelmed, they're feeling, okay, what am I supposed to do? How can they start redesigning life without feeling overwhelmed? Because I think that's where a lot of us get scared of, like, that's just too much for me to do. They get comfortable in where they're at. Like they're not happy about it, but they get comfortable because it's it's their routine. So how do you feel like people can start, or the women can start redesigning their life without feeling that overwhelmed?
Take a step back, first of all. Like I get overwhelmed sometimes on the daily, and it's like, whoa, that's a big day. I don't know what I'm going to do. And you know what? Then sometimes and especially if it's an admin day or
Mm.
something, I'm like, oh, so it's all relative. It's basically taking that step back, take a breath. Like sometimes we forget to breathe, and that's when the anxiety comes in as well. So it's like, let it out. And like that's what anxiety is, not being able to exhale, So big breath and then just like peel it back. What is like, it goes back to what I said earlier, like the first step that you can do. Like it doesn't matter if you don't get everything done. No one's ever going to get everything done. There's always something left to do on
Mm,
the to-do list
correct.
because you're constantly adding on it throughout the day or
Yeah,
whatever.
correct.
But and it goes back to the life as well. It's like you want all these changes in your life, but what's one thing you can do today or this week that will move you closer to where you need to be? One thing. Like break
Yeah.
it
No,
down.
I love that.
One small step. Yeah. Because
No, love,
again,
love
like
that.
if you spend every day, you have an axe and there's a tree. If you spend every day hitting the tree 5 times, the tree's eventually going to fall. It's inevitable.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct,
So
correct, correct.
if you just start somewhere small, you will get to where you need to be.
Yeah, and it's like the compound effect, right? So those little action that you take, and then obviously that once
Yeah.
it all comes together, then the tree will
Yeah.
fall. So that's awesome.
Hmm.
Yeah, I love that, love that.
Alrighty. We have gotten to the part of the podcast where we wanted to do a little rapid fire questions. There's only 4 questions. There's only four.
I'm scared.
No, no, no. Don't be scared. There's only 4 quick questions. We just want you to be able to answer them like as quickly, like you're a pro. We've got this. You've got this.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, question number 1: the biggest lie women tell themselves.
That they're confident.
What was that? Underconfident.
That they're
Oh,
confident. Faking it till they make
yeah,
it.
yep.
Yeah.
Question number 2: one belief women need to drop immediately.
I am not good enough.
Love it.
Love
Question number
that.
3:
Mhm.
your non-negotiable self-care practice.
My morning routine.
Yep. Love that. Mine would be my evening routine. Um, and number 4: most surprising lesson in your coaching career.
Oh, eek.
I'm sure there's
That's
a
a hard
lot.
one.
Yeah.
That is a risk. That's why I was like, "Du-du-du-du-du-du." um, how much work I still had to do on myself, probably.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
You know,
that. I
yeah.
love that.
And to
Love it.
elaborate on that, because like we're never finished. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
like obviously
Right.
I started like foundational coaching, then I was accredited, and then I went into NLP, and NLP uncovered a whole lot of stuff. So there's always
Mm,
stuff to do, but which is
yeah.
amazing on the flip side because I get to bring that now to my clients and be like, oh my god, wait till you see that, what this happened.
Yeah.
It's like there was a technique that I done before, and like I was like, I didn't even know that was in there somewhere. It's crazy.
That's
Yeah, correct. That's
amazing.
so
Oh
awesome.
god, that is so
Oh,
great.
that's
I think
so
that's one of
good.
the,
That is
more
so good.
important lesson that, like, I've taken away from this, a couple of years back. It's like we always are continuously growing. We're always evolving. We're always
Yeah.
changing. We're
Mm,
always learning. You know, even now, for
Yeah.
example, it's like AI is coming into the world in a lot more industries now.
mm,
It's a lot more powerful. A lot more people have anxiety over it, which is now in turn going to create more people with more problems when it comes to careers, when it comes to all these things, because it's like now they have to battle an extra thing.
yeah,
They have to learn an extra thing.
Mhm.
yeah.
They have to, and that's, I'm just kind of using AI because it's literally been on my brain all day today. I'm going crazy. I'm going to start twitching soon. But that's life. Governments change. Life
Mhm.
changes, weather changes. Like there's all these things that continuously change. We also have to make that realization that we are forever changing for the good and the bad.
Yes,
Yeah. So,
agree with that totally.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I think accepting that, like you said, when you hit a certain age, you're kind of like, oh, why? It goes back full circle to what we've been talking about. A lot of us have that expectation because we're like, well, we're in our 30s, then we
Yeah.
should, so forth and so forth. Yeah. And so
Yeah.
with that, which is actually, this is a really lovely question we incorporate to what we're going into, is more, what would you tell your 25-year-old self knowing what you know now? I know you mentioned, like, obviously you went through the credits and the accreditation, and then also NLP, and that opened up a lot of new things for you. But what would you tell your 25-year-old self? I guess it's just that, like that letter that you were saying. What would you email back
Yeah.
to what would you email to yourself 20, back in 25?
I would literally just say hanging girl because I was like, I think that was like I was starting to break then, but I didn't know until then,
Yeah.
that kind of way.
Mm,
It was a
mm,
tough road. So I tell her like, oh, this is making me a little bit emotional. Apologies, but I would say just
oh,
hang in there. Things do get better. You will get stronger, and yeah, everything is going to work out. And give her a little hug as well.
Yeah.
Because it's like a little inner child to exercise that for me because
mm,
I wouldn't go back to my 20s. I learned so much and I became such a different person and person that I actually started to love, and that's
mm,
really difficult for some people and it's still a work in progress. I mean, some days I still hate myself.
Yeah.
It's, that's life. But yeah, so I would definitely um, just give the hug and let her know,
Yeah.
reassure her, basically.
That's beautiful.
no, I love
Hannah, I
that.
actually want
I
to
think a
ask
lot
you
of us,
that same question.
no, go ahead.
Yeah, what would
Me?
you
Say that again,
tell
sorry, Marj.
what would you tell your 25-year-old
Yeah.
self, Hannah? Or what would
Stop drinking? No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
Are you loving the Relatable Bitches podcast? If so, make sure you follow us on socials, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and LinkedIn, and you should get all the updates on when the new episode drops.
No, no, no. I just had a baby at that time. So, I mean, I just like, it would be my first year of having a baby. I would say, that it's okay that you don't know how to be a mom. I think that would be my first thing. Because I'm very like in my brain, I need to have the order and organization, and things have to be into plan. And I think it would
Mhm.
be like that. You don't have to be a perfect
Mhm.
mom, and that was my biggest hurdle and struggle. And only, like I say, past year and a half, that I realized that I don't have to be a perfect mom. So I need to tell her that for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. How about you? I like to see. It's funny enough, Philomena. Sorry, we're getting off topic. We
No,
realized
I
we
love it.
like Marj and I only have known each other a little over a year, like just only a little
And,
bit over a year.
and it feels
That's
like
crazy
we've
Yeah,
because you
known
are
each other.
so good
yeah,
at bouncing off each other. Like it.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm,
The advice that I would give myself is you're gonna make
mm.
it and use night cream now.
There you go. I love
I
that.
love the
Use night cream
practicality
now.
of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I would actually probably go tell 15-year-old self the same thing, but we don't need to go there. But no, realistically,
Yeah.
I
Well,
I
it's
had a
working,
very
girl.
similar sort of mind frame. Like
Yeah.
me coming up to my 30s, I got married when I was 29. And it was
Mm,
that thing of I was having severe panic because I'd always thought I should have been married before 30.
mm, mm, mm.
I was like,
Yeah.
I need to be married before 30. I need to be married before 30. I was like, I'd been with my partner for God, like, 7 years by the time we got married. But in my head, it wasn't good enough that I'd found my life partner. I needed to be married. Like I needed to hit that 30 mark and be married. And then I turned
Yeah.
30 and nothing changed.
You're not alone.
And I was like, why was I in this
Exactly.
panic to be married before 30? Why was I in this panic that I had to
Yeah. Yeah.
achieve these things before 30? Because nothing
Mm, mm,
changed. When I
mm.
turned
Because we're
31, I could
conditioned.
still go out. I could still do the exact same things that I did at 25. I made myself
Yeah.
believe that I was going to change, that things were going to change and be different. Um,
Yeah. It's like that new year, new me type of thing, right?
exactly. So I was dreading my
Yeah.
30th birthday. Leading up to it, it was just sadness. My husband would my husband would find me on the floor crying in a corner because I'm like, I don't want to turn 30. I don't want to be there.
I know.
And in my 30s, I'm like, okay, it's not the greatest. I'm not going to sit here saying it is the best ever, but it actually is
Yeah.
not the worst. It's not as
Yeah.
bad as
Correct.
No.
what it was kind of portrayed to be or what I thought it was going to be.
Correct.
Yeah.
I haven't
Correct.
imploded.
Correct.
My skin is still fine. I'm happily married. We have a roof over our head. Our pets are all alive and well. We're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't
Exactly.
have
Yep.
too
Yep.
much to complain about. So, it's that changing of mind frame where I'm a lot happier now being 36 than what I was 29, about to turn 30, and giving
Yeah.
myself that
And
anxiety of, oh crap, what's going to change. It was almost like at the clock, like at the strike of 12, I was going to turn into a pumpkin or something. It was just that full dread of, you don't want the clock to strike midnight on your 30th.
Yeah, because you're like, oh my
yeah,
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I also didn't have
yeah.
children at that
Oh,
point.
We're
I had a lot
conditioned
of people
to
around
believe.
me asking, when are you having babies? When are you going to have a baby? When are you going to have a baby? That added to it a lot. The
the
pressure
pressure
of,
of it all.
not
Yeah.
necessarily wanting to have children, especially not at that time and point of my life, but everyone around me expecting that from me and my partner.
Yeah, I bet. I bet. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, they just doing what they know because realistically, they probably don't even care if you're going to have a kid or no. They're just asking because that's what you should ask when someone gets married or if you're in your 30s, you know?
Yeah.
And it's once you give yourself the permission to say, like, this is my life, it's so freeing,
Mm.
you know,
Yes.
it's there's
Mhm.
nothing
Mhm.
like it because we're conditioned to believe that like once we turn 30, we're supposed to be married, like you said, have the house,
Mhm.
have the kids, um, not be alone because then you're a spinster and then you'll be left on the shelf.
Yeah, and God
Maybe
forbid
I
you get
want
a
to like
cat.
just go and do my own thing. I know, like but it's from the times of old, and it's what we know and what we're like, as I said, conditioned to
Yeah.
believe that life is. But we've changed, and like, but the society stereotype hasn't changed with it,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah.
So we're
Yeah.
giving women all this like power and being able to do this and feminism and like standing up in the power pose and everything. You can go and do what you want. We can vote now. We can go and do a job. We can do have a kid and have a job. We can go and travel on our own. We can actually go out at night on our
You
own.
can
We can
buy a
do all this
car.
stuff.
You can purchase things
But
by yourself. You don't have to have, your husband
Yeah.
next to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, but are you getting married? Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like move with the timeline. It's like, do you know what? Give the two fingers and just be like you can't have it both ways. You know, like
Yeah.
you've given us all
Yeah.
this power. Let,
Correct.
let us let us keep it. Like stop trying to
Yeah.
like nitpick at
Yeah.
it.
And I yeah, and I think it's more people have different perception of success or, a happy
Mm,
life or what when they feel like they've made it. Some people are okay with where they're at and that's
mm,
fine. I think it's just a lot of us in that, like you said, I think time hasn't caught up to what's happening, especially with technology, things that are happening so fast around us. The perception of things or needs to catch up a little
Yeah.
bit, people's perception, I should say. So yeah. Yep, yep.
Yeah.
yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, I
Mhm.
spoke to a
So
lady and she's like, I can't believe I don't have a child. I think she was 33, I think, and she's like, I can't believe I don't have a child. Like, I don't even have a partner. And I was like, do you want to have a child? And she was like, well, I don't know because like I have X, Y, and Z and my job's going really well and I don't think I want it right now. And I'm like, so what's the problem?
Yeah.
yeah.
You know? And she's like, but I should have one. I was like, but why should you have one if you don't want
Yeah.
to have a child?
Yeah.
Choose to have a child and
Yeah.
it's not going to fit into your life right now.
Exactly.
And then she just stopped for a minute and it was like I could almost see the penny dropping, you know, that kind of way. And she was like, okay, yeah, maybe I can put a pin in that. I was like, yeah, maybe you can. And then I have another like, all right, actually, this is not a client of mine, but it was a girl I worked with and she was a little bit older than me at the time. And she didn't have a partner, but she really, really wanted to have a child. So she went and I think she went to be artificially inseminated and she got pregnant and stuff. And that was her whole life. She was delighted, that kind of
Yeah.
way. So you have two sides of
Mm.
the coin where it's like, if you want something, go and fucking get it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Either way, whatever
Yeah.
sits with you.
Correct.
Yeah.
What is it like? What feels good
Yeah.
for
And I
you,
think that's
for
actually what's
sure.
so special, especially, I understand that there are still some countries in this in the world that don't have, like, women don't have our freedoms. I
Mm-hmm. Correct.
It's
understand that.
true.
So it's like, the way that I view it, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do what I want to do for all the women that can't. I'm going to actually
Yes,
be
girl.
that
Mm-hmm.
voice of, you know
Mm-hmm.
what? No. So it's like I feel better now when I say, it's like, when people ask, like, when are you gonna have children? We're not. Thank you for your question, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like
correct.
I can actually say, instead of just that awkward, yeah, maybe if it happens, it
Mm.
happens. No, we're not planning on it. Appreciate the question though. Like,
And
you can go and ask
And
someone.
yeah,
then appreciate the shock on their face. I love that factor. Do you know when you're like when you say that and it's like you feel
Well,
like
look,
that and they're like they don't know what to
I
say
had family
to
that
you.
used to ask me that a lot. And I actually, you know,
Mm.
I used to be very, very snarky, very snarky. So one day when a cousin asked me, "Oh, when are you planning to have babies?" When I was with an ex, I was about
Mhm.
20 at the time, 21, I think. And I was
Wow.
being asked when I'm going to have a baby. I just turned around and went, I can't. How do you feel about yourself now asking that question to somebody that can't fall pregnant? And she was just mortified, shock, horror, never brought it up to me ever again. And I really enjoyed that sort of split moment. I never did that to anybody else ever again. But I really just wanted to have my little moment. 21 years old, I didn't really need people asking me when I was going to have my babies. Um,
yeah, right,
Yeah.
right.
Well, that's true, Marge, as well, because people do ask that question and they don't even take into consideration people's like complications or anything.
exactly.
Like there's a lot of women now being diagnosed with endometriosis and stuff like that,
Yeah,
and it's really, really difficult for them to conceive. And some of them, that's all they want, you know. So it's the sensitivity around it as well.
yeah.
Like that's a whole other
No,
subject. Sorry, but I just wanted to
but
touch
Yeah,
on
yeah,
yeah,
that.
yeah.
that's
No, for
kind of
sure.
that was the whole point. It's like at the end of the day, we don't know what other people are going through. Sometimes some things can be quite
Mm.
intrusive, especially when we don't know. But at the end of the day, it's like we're all women. We have to have that sort of support. Well, not have to, but we should. Like we should
Yeah,
be able to lift each other up instead of trying to pull each other down and be
Yes.
like, oh, you're 30 and you don't have a family or a kid yet. Oh, why? I've heard that way too much. Not necessarily to me, but I've heard other people. Like I'm quite nosy. I can hear a lot of conversations around me. I listen in, and it really upsets me when I do see women putting women down because they're not at the same stage as they are.
Yeah. Or they want to feel better about themselves. And
Yeah,
that's a whole other issue that you need to
yeah,
work on
yeah,
because
correct.
in order to
Yeah,
make somebody else feel bad so you feel better,
mm,
like that's a whole issue. What is missing in your life that you need to fix for this to
yeah, and yeah,
no,
no, for
definitely.
sure. And I think it's more of just, I think it's just more of because it can go either or. Some people are just really that oblivious that they live in their own bubble, you know. But there's also
not.
people that genuinely want, like you said, want to just feel better about themselves. So they're just like, well, how can I make someone feel sad today so I can not feel lonely in this space
Yeah,
of anger, you know?
I
So
wish that
yeah,
was the case that if they, because it was intention, like believe it or not, they don't even realize they're doing it. They're just like, they like the hit that it gets, but they don't actually
process
comprehend
it.
that what they're doing is making someone feel sad. They don't comprehend that. They
yeah.
just that's just yeah. It's really yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
This has been such an
Oh,
amazing
yeah.
conversation. Philomena, can you tell our listeners how they can connect with you and start their own transformations?
Absolutely. Connect with me on Instagram or Facebook or my website is MinaO'ReillyCoaching.com. Obviously I'd love to offer your listeners as well a free discovery session, have a little chat with me. I have three of them I'll give
Yeah,
away for
thank
free, one
you.
hour session and a little mini coaching session and a little chat and stuff. Um, but yeah, connect with me everywhere. My LinkedIn is probably going to be going live pretty soon as well. So yeah, connect with me everywhere. And I have a free Facebook group as well. Um, I will pass on the details of that because it's currently under construction just this week, unfortunately. But I will pass on the
Right.
details. Maybe
So
you
is
can pop
ours.
it in the notes or something.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Send
but
it
it's free. I
over.
go
Yeah,
live.
yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. I go live every
yeah.
Thursday and I give like a little mini training for free as well in there. So yeah, a community of
I
women in there too.
love that. I
Fantastic.
love
I
that.
definitely think some of our listeners should definitely jump on that straight away, especially with that giveaway. We will definitely put that out.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much for that, and that you're offering that especially to our listeners. So thank
Yes, we
you.
really appreciate it.
Thank you. I love this. Can we just stay here forever?
Yes, no,
Yes.
thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Like,
Thank
this
you.
is
Thank
awesome.
you. Thank you. It has been such a pleasure,
Awesome.
and we can't wait to have you on again.
Thank you. I've loved it. I love you girls. You know that. Like we always just have the great chats. So, and it's just easy. It flows.
Yeah.
Like you know.
I love seeing
Yeah.
your stories pop up on my Instagram and my Facebook. It's
Me
so
too. It
it
always
literally
helps. I think maybe if I
I
was
just find
bored.
myself like grinning by the end of it. You've always got like something so beautiful to say.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. And for those that didn't pick up
Oh,
on
I
the
appreciate
accent
that.
today, beautiful Philomena is actually in Dublin.
Oh yeah.
She's not here in Oz
I hope
with
everyone can
Hannah and
understand me.
myself. Just in case anybody didn't pick up the accent.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh
I'm sure in
God.
the podcast that people are like, man, there's like three different accents in this podcast. Like they're just trying to figure out where we're all. You're like,
They're not
where is
even
this
listening to us.
they?
They're trying to pinpoint where we're from.
Yeah, yeah,
We
yeah,
do still have people actually
yeah,
asking
exactly.
Oh,
where we're based, so it's quite interesting
Yeah,
because
yeah,
we have separate accents, so they
eh,
don't know if we're in America or if we're in Australia. Well, they
yeah.
actually,
Correct,
a lot
correct.
of people
oh,
think that Hannah is in America and I'm in Australia, and we just do the podcast at different time zones. Yeah,
Separately. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because you're quite
So,
so
hey,
like your
yeah.
accent is undeniable, Marcia. To be fair, like you've got the strong accent, Australian accent.
yeah.
Love that, love that. Well, thank you, thank you.
Oh, well, have a wonderful day.
Oh yeah, have a great day.
Mine's
Happy
only starting.
birthday.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, girl.
Bye.
Bye, bye.
And that wraps up another episode of the Relatable Bitches podcast. We hope you enjoyed our chat today and found something that's resonated with you.
If you loved what you heard, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. It really helps us reach more relatable bitches like you.
And remember, you can connect with us on social media. All links are in the description.
Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, keep it real and stay relatable.